what a weekend it was in the Big 12. And I'm curious your thoughts. Obviously, I think the Big 12 is much maligned as a brand. But I think you look at the top of this conference right now, I think very clearly Utah is the best team in the conference. I know you don't love when I say that, but I will continue to espouse that Utah is the best team in this conference. And I'm not sure it's close. You look at Utah, obviously Isaac Wilson had his struggles early in that game against Utah State, but he clearly got better as the game went on. And doesn't even matter. Cam Rising will be back for Oklahoma State, or at least it appears Cam Rising will be back under center for Utah when they head to Stillwater this weekend. And I don't think there's any doubt with the struggles that Oklahoma State has had, the inability to move the football at times. Alan Bowman's a liability at quarterback. I don't even think that it's close. Now, does that mean that Oklahoma State is going to lose that game? Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, you look at the numbers on that game. You're a 3-point favorite at home. You would expect that, right? I mean, you look at that number. That means this game's a push because Vegas automatically gives you 3 points for being the home team. The number that's more interesting, though, is that 51.5. 51.5 is a very interesting number because Utah's defense is elite. And I am very curious to see how this game plays out. We'll get into that more as the week goes on. But I think without question, there's not a clear answer to who the second best team in the Big 12 is. There truly is not, because in all of the excitement this past weekend about K-State winning at Arizona or against Arizona, and this is a question that I have if you're a K-State fan, and I know that we have gone over this repeatedly on this show. How much do you trust Avery Johnson? Because this was his first real opponent. Arizona, and you could say what you want about Arizona, the Fighting Fafitas, that is a high-powered offense that certainly deserves your respect. To win 31-7 tells me more about the defense in Manhattan than it does about the offense, because I thought Avery Johnson is exactly who we thought Avery Johnson was. That's what he showed us against Arizona, right? And I think we've gone over this, and I know you guys are going to tell me that I'm just anti, Avery Johnson, or what good do I have? What is the win for me being anti-Avery Johnson? There's no win for me being anti-Avery Johnson. The truth is, he's a very average quarterback who we had been excited that his completion percentage was a little higher. Well, then he played Arizona and it went back to 60%. And you look at some of the numbers in this game. Avery Johnson, 14-23, 156 yards and 2 scores. Oh, but Monty, he's a runner. No, but Monty's here. Avery Johnson ran 17 times for 110 yards. That should be really concerning for you, because when you have DJ Giddens and Dylan Edwards, why is Avery Johnson running the football 17 times? That's a real concern. That is a real concern. But here we are on the 16th of September, and I'm happy to anoint K-State as the second best team in the Big 12. I'm thrilled with it. It makes no difference to me, because now as we get into the meat of this schedule and you look at the teams, and I think the teams that have played 3 games already, those are the teams we're starting to really understand, because we're starting to see patterns develop. And again, I think we can say this about the top of the conference or the bottom of the conference. You look at Kansas State, you need to force Avery Johnson to throw the football. You want to beat K-State, make him stay in the pocket and throw the football, because that's how you're going to turn them over. And the thing that should concern you, is that, again, Avery Johnson's 14-23, 156 yards, and he averaged 6.8 yards per completion. Not the 8, 9, 10 that elite quarterbacks average. 6.8 yards on average against Arizona. I think that's a real concern if you're a K-State fan. And you look at the fact that they're 3-0 and their wins, who cares? They beat Tulane in what was a scintillating game. That is a very good road win. But now you're at BYU on Saturday night, 8:30 in the mountains. Now we're going to find out, because I think that this BYU defense is a little better than most people thought. But this is week 4 now. And interestingly enough, I guess, BYU fan, I don't understand what more you want out of Jake Retzloff. I truly do not. Because as you head for K-State, you're 3-0. And you're 3-0 because of Jake Retzloff. Has he performed at the level you would like? No, he has not. He has not protected the football to the way that you would like. Had another interception against Wyo this weekend. But here's what I know. When I look at Jake Retzloff, look at his numbers and even contrast them with a guy like Avery Johnson. Jake Retzloff, 57-94, 841 yards, 8.9 yards per attempt. And he's completed as well 60%. So he's not played great quarterback. But I think we all can agree on that. Jake Retzloff for BYU has not been an elite quarterback yet. And he is exponentially a better thrower of the football than Avery Johnson is. And as I've said on this show, and I will continue to espouse for perpetuity, forever, I will tell you, Lamar Jackson, Avery Johnson, name the quarterback. From the best in Patrick Mahomes or now Arch Manning, who's the greatest quarterback. Texas is back. Anyway, the point is, any quarterback is going to have to stand in the pocket and deliver the football to win a football game. And if you're K-State and you think you're coming to Provo for, just another, win, you better rethink that, because Provo at night, 8:30, 4,700 feet of elevation, it's real. And there's not a team that comes to Provo and thinks it's easy, because it's not. It's really difficult to come here and win. And I think we're going to find out a lot about Avery Johnson. You play well this game again. 8:30 Mountain Time, 10:30 Eastern, prime time, big game, the biggest game of the night on the 4-letter. This is all the exposure you want at K-State. Probably a little bit more than you want. Because if you come to Provo, and I don't think K-State loses that game, because I think K-State's a better football team than BYU is. There's no doubt about that. But this is a one-score game. And the idea that K-State fans are in my timeline already and already talking a load of junk about domination. Okay, let's find out who Avery Johnson is. Because I think this is his most difficult test, and I'm not sure that it's close. Go ahead and hit the like button on the Monty Show as we talk about a big weekend in the Big 12. And here's a question I ask for you. Who's the best team in the Big 12? I don't think there's any doubt it's Utah. Who's the second best team in the Big 12? Because I'm pretty convinced at this moment it's K-State. I do not think it's Oak State. I don't. Again, I will tell you there's dysfunction on that offense, and that defense has been underwhelming at Oklahoma State. And I think it's tough to get away from. I think it's very tough to get away from the fact that Alan Bowman is a liability. And no, I am not going to sit here and get excited about the fact that, Oak State got to win. And it's Tulsa. Oklahoma State, if we're really truth-telling, and again, I think this weekend we learned quite a bit about some clubs. If we really truth-tell about Oklahoma State, how impressed have you been with wins over South Dakota State, Arkansas, and Tulsa? Because I haven't been that impressed. And I watched a good chunk of that Tulsa game. Even in I think 45-10 is where it finished. Alan Bowman, 24-31, 396, 5 scores, and an interception against Tulsa. And I'm not impressed. And again, I just ask you, what's wrong with Ollie Gordon? 17 carries, average 2.4 yards a carry. What's wrong with Ollie Gordon? Something's wrong, because it's not ideal. Has anybody stopped to take a look at Ollie Gordon's numbers this year against 3 really mediocre opponents? Somehow he's averaging 3.5 yards a carry on the season. So we can stop all this nonsense about Ollie Gordon for Heisman and he's better than Taj Brooks. That's all out the window now. Now we need to know what is wrong with Ollie Gordon. What's wrong with Ollie Gordon? Something, because I again will tell you, Ollie Gordon's not the same cat he was last year. Now, is it because he's being schemed? I would assume. He's got 4 touchdowns. 3 of them came in week 1. You should be concerned. If you are an Oak State fan, something's wrong. And I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if it is a cloud based on some of the controversy around his arrest over the summer. I don't know what it is, but something's not right with Ollie Gordon. And until he gets right, you're not beating Utah. And I don't care if that game's in Stillwater, and I don't care if that game's in Poughkeepsie. If Ollie Gordon doesn't rush for 100 yards against Utah, I just don't see how you win that game. And I could be wrong. And I mean, there's a first time for everything, as somebody who's never, ever been wrong about anything ever in the history of this show. Go Kansas. Rock Chalk. Thanks for that. How bad's Kansas? How bad is Kansas? Legitimately. What was that? Speaking of terrible performances. But let's get your comments in here on the Monty Show. Obviously, I want you to react this Monday because this was a big weekend in the Big 12. And I think that patterns are starting to form. And specifically, and we'll talk about the SEC and the top 25 coming up in a bit. But if you look at the scores out of the Big 12 this weekend, I do believe that we're learning. And I think some of the bigger ones, I think the overinflation of what Arizona was going to be this year, well, now we know. Now we know. And you ran into the best team that you played this year and you got smoked. And that defense is going to be a problem. I think Utah is the winning 38-21 without your quarterback. All of the nonsense you hyenas bit hook, line, and sinker on Cam Rising, his hand being cut off, all the ridiculousness that happened with Deion Sanders, who also fell for fake tweet guy. They went to Logan and they did their job. And I think that if you look at the rest of this conference right now, and you look at the rest of the Big 12, and you look at some of the scores, it's tragic that Kansas is 1-2. I have no idea. I don't even know what you say about Jalen Daniels because he's not good. Huge win for UNLV, who also now is 3-0. Huge win over Kansas. I think BYU going to Laramie and Jake Retzloff balling out. I don't know that I should say shockingly, but Houston gets a win over Rice. UCF. Dude, I don't know how many of you saw UCF and TCU. That was one of the most entertaining games of the weekend. And KJ Jefferson throwing 3 touchdowns. And I thought KJ played pretty well. His numbers don't show it. Now, was he Josh Hoover? He was not. Josh Hoover at TCU, 35 of 52 for 400 yards and 4 scores. And he lost, which is crazy. Crazy. But speaking of great running backs, don't write off RJ Harvey at UCF. 29, 180, 2 touchdowns. Average 6.2 yards a carry. Pretty damn good. Pretty good. I'm telling you, UCF is one of the least respected teams in this conference right now. But, hey, real quick, by the way, congratulations. Joey McGuire actually won a game at Lubbock. He looked good. North Texas they've got all Texas Tech former players, and 66-21. My guy, Baron Morton, 4 scores. Good performances over the weekend. But shout out to UCF because I feel like, am I the only one? I'm not the only one. But UCF is that team that nobody has respect for. Put respect on their name, right? I think UCF is much better than anybody thinks. And I thought that was one of the most entertaining games of the weekend. One of the most entertaining games. It wasn't quite as entertaining as Billy Napier getting whacked in Gainesville, but it was close, right? It was close. The boosters at Florida have raised enough money Did you guys see this story? Florida boosters have the cash on hand now to fire Billy Napier. It's Monday at 8:20 in Florida, and they haven't fired him yet. I doubt they're going to fire him now. He's done. Billy Napier is done. I have no idea what that was. I have no idea. Anybody has anybody seen Florida State? Let me put it this way. On a football field, we've seen them at the courthouse. Has anybody seen Florida State on the football field? And is DJ Uiagalelei ever going to take another snap at quarterback? Because holy cow, he was terrible. How did we get to a place on September 16th and the Miami Hurricanes are the best team in Florida? And I don't, it's not a conversation. Mario Cristobal, favorite son, went home, dream job. They're the best team in Florida. And it's unbelievable how good Cam Ward is. And hey, shout out to the Palouse. Big win in the Apple Cup, beating Washington. But Cam Ward's pretty good. Cam Ward's in the Heisman conversation. And I think it is well-deserved. Because you look at Florida State, both in shambles. Right? I mean, you're not firing Norvell, but you're firing Napier at Florida. It's over. Napes, it's over. You're done. Right? Like it is absolutely over. Unbelievable weekend. Let's get into the comment section. Thanks to our friends at Prize Picks. Holy cow, did I get beat down on Prize Picks this weekend? I had 3 plays. I won my college football play, but I got crushed in the NFL on Prize Picks. And you knew the streak was going to come to an end, right? We had been way too hot. We had been on fire, quite literally, almost not literally. That would mean that we'd have third-degree burns. But my point is my Prize Picks plays had been hot. And then I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to kick it and crush the NFL. We did not crush anything. Caleb Williams came through with that promotion I told you about, half a yard. Yeah, he had 174. Tyreek Hill, thanks for nothing. Alan Lazard, thanks for nothing. All I needed was a touchdown out of either one of those guys, and I win. Didn't happen. Did not happen. Joe Burrow, thanks for nothing. But terrible weekend in the NFL for me. NFL on the show tomorrow, by the way. Unbelievably bad weekend in the NFL. Now, thankfully, the Cubs won. We were mile high. Cubs win, so I went on Prize Picks. But my God, did I take a beating in the NFL? Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app. And I'm telling you right now, download the app on your phone. It is the single best daily fantasy promotion I've ever seen. You deposit $5 into a new Prize Picks account. They'll give you 50 more, $50. You deposit 5, they'll give you 50. That's the entire football season. You can play the entire football season. Yes, you can on $55 easily at Prize Picks. And it's simple. Make 3 selections on a flex play, which means you only have to have 2 of 3 cash and you win. It's that simple. Hook it up, download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code Monty. They'll give you $50 when you open a new account and deposit $5 at prizepicks.com. All right, let's see who's first in this morning. Hello, Big Blue Horses, Real Pete Forte. Hello. Anybody want to talk about the Pac-12 this weekend? Well, I mean, I shouldn't say the Pac-12 yet with San Diego State. UNLV got to win. I want San Diego State to win football games. But wait a minute. How good is Cal? Maybe I undersold the lead. I don't even know. Are the California Golden Bears, are they on par with Miami? Probably not. But if Cal's playing anybody in the ACC, not named Miami, Aren't you taking Cal after they absolutely dismantled San Diego State 31-10? They're 3-0. And it's not like their 3-0 is Oak State's 3-0. UC Davis, Auburn on the road at Jordan-Hare, and then San Diego State. Did I mention that they're at Florida State this weekend? Cal at Florida State this weekend. I'm telling you, shouldn't you favor Cal in that game? Right now, the number is -2.5 for Florida State, but shouldn't you favor Cal in that game? I mean, hell, the number's only 44.5. Shouldn't you favor Cal in that game? I'm uncomfortable saying out loud that I think Cal's the second best team in the ACC right now. Clemson may have an argument. They could have an argument if they had a quarterback, but it's a pretty good story going on at Cal. By the way, old Pac-12. But good morning, Real Pete Forte. Mark Hales, hello. Midweek Coug. Oh, boy, I bet you got your Coug up, don't you? Don't you? Apple Cup. Midweek says FSU is a joke. If they lose to Cal, they're not. The newbies in the conference are coming to Tallahassee and winning. That would be Florida State's not going to lose to Cal at home. Honest, come on. Hello, TJ. Good to see you. Lobes fan Gabe. Yes, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. I see several of you asking about why we're not on Twitter today. I changed my picture on Twitter, my profile picture, so you can't live stream until that picture is approved. Thanks, Elon. Appreciate that. Why? West Coast Gumby, hello. Maury Alvarez, hello. Miami is the real Florida team this year. Jake was just in your neck of the woods in Orlando. ACC West Coast Commissioner Gumby, dude, everyone knows Cal sucks. This ain't even AAU, zero value team. Exactly right. NE, at least Oregon woke the hell up. Do not change the O-line at all. 0 sacks or QB pressures. Are you guys a little surprised the gap in that game? I thought Oregon State would be a little more competitive there. I thought they would be a little more competitive there. And I don't want to just spit this fact out without getting it right, but the domination that we saw from Oregon was at times, I say at times because I don't want to make too much out of this, right? But I felt like Dylan Gabriel was 20 of 24, 291 and 2 touchdowns. That's as good as he has looked. And I know it's probably beyond comprehension, but this is a pretty good Oregon State defense. And they had 0 sacks and only 2 TFLs, tackles for loss. That's pretty good. And Oregon looks like they figured, I don't disagree. You have 240 yards rushing. You have, Tez Johnson, 7 for 110. You spread the football around. Yeah, I wouldn't change much. Oregon looks like they finally figured out who the hell they are.